Despite my name and my upbringing and all of the things that I know about plants and my allergies, I have never successfully had a garden before, but why not try? Because what can go wrong? Hi guys, it's April, and this is another one of my 3 reads videos where I take 3 books that I have read this year that fit into the same type of category, and I talk to you about them. This time around, I am more into the non-fiction set of things, and I'm going to be talking about gardening. Now, let me start this whole video off with some backstory of me, because this becomes very important as I'm telling you about these books. So I have grown up with a mother and a grandmother who are very well suited to growing things. I never seemed to really get it. I would always kill the plants and then they'd have to doctor them back up to life. My grandmother, she had this way with gardening that I find so fascinating. And my mother always told me about my grandfather and his garden. Well, with the state of the world and everything that went on last year, I was spending a lot more time at home, decided I was going to do some container gardening. It was okay, and then I stumbled across the whole YouTube realm of gardening. And oh my gosh, is there some amazing channels out there? And that has led me to attempting to start my own garden this year. I have no idea if it's going to go well or not, but it is something that I am finding some joy in, so I'm just going to pursue it. Now, these 3 books kind of popped up in my research and my watching of these YouTube channels and a little bit in my NetGallery review life because I, at this point, am trying to absorb as much information as I possibly can. And these 3 books, I think, do a very good job of stepping you through everything and starting your own garden. So I'm going to stop with the whole "this is my life" part of this video, and I'm just going to start talking about these books. Last year, I picked up this book for the first time, and I did a review over an art copy of it. I enjoyed it so much that I had to pick it up for myself so I could have a physical copy that I could reference back, and I have done a reread of this book, and I still love it just as much as I did then. And that is How to Grow Your Dinner Without Leaving the House. And this is by Ratinon. Like I said, I got an art copy of this last year. This is all about container gardening. So she is more in an urban setting, more of I've got this small little space. I've got this small little patio. I need to grow things in pots, in containers. And this steps you through a lot of that process. What I really like about this book, though, is everything is in these little bite-sized snippets along with these amazing photographs so that if you're going back and you're referencing this and you've got, okay, I need to remember how to do like worm composting or worm tea or that kind of stuff, you can very quickly find it in here. It's so small and you can carry it around everywhere, and it is set up in a way that it just makes it very easy to digest the information. So I really appreciated this read. The next book I just recently talked about in my most anticipated March releases because I have been dying to get my hands on this book because I've been watching her channel for over a year now. She is one of the main reasons of why I'm like, well, what do I have to lose? I've got an empty space in my yard. Why not plant a few things that I can maybe possibly eat later down the line? And that is The First Time Gardener Growing Vegetables by Jessica Sowards. She runs a YouTube channel called Roots and Refuse. I will link it down below because her channel is absolutely amazing. Like I said, she is one of those channels that truly sparked the concept of having my own garden and finding joy in that process. This book takes gardening and growing your own food for yourself, and it inserts the idea of this is a whole learning process. This is a classroom. This isn't something where you're going to get graded at the end and you're pass-fail whether or not you get anything out of your garden. She approaches all of this with such a passion and an understanding of, hey, I'm most likely going to fail, but that's going to be the worst that happens. And I think that mentality really got to me because I am a constant failure of plants. So I thought maybe, why not try again? The worst that could happen is I kill yet another plant. So she also does things in nice bite-sized snippets. She takes you from the beginning of the process of building your beds, deciding how you want to build your soil, if you want to do in-ground raised bed or container gardening. She advocates for a combination of all of those. She grows food primarily for her family. That is her whole homesteading life. So she approaches it as building up for yourself. And in that process of deciding how you want to garden, building up your soil, planting the seeds, caring for the plants, and then the harvest, she also brings up a very interesting concept that not a lot of these books actually touch upon, and that is building a space that inspires you and keeps bringing you back. Because otherwise, this whole gardening passion, this whole gardening process is going to wear you down. Because in the heat of the summer, when you're fighting weeds, when you're fighting bugs, when you're fighting a sunburn, it's not going to be as inspiring as when you're sitting in your house in the middle of winter dreaming about the possibilities. So she constantly talks about the fact, build a space that just calls to you. And I think that is my biggest takeaway from her, is having an area that not only grows plants, but brings me out there to hang out with the plants, that calls me to be in that space and constantly being in contact with that area. So I really like that. She goes a little deeper into some of the concepts of specific plants and their life cycle. She is a big tomato advocate, which I love me some tomatoes. And then just the passion in which she tells all of this information, you can very much tell that she's a teacher and she loves to teach and she wants to inspire this passion in other people. So highly recommend this book if you are just getting into gardening. If you're a longtime gardener, this is just, it inspires you in a way that I think is just amazing. I will also, like I said, link her channel down below, because every time she puts a video out, I need to watch it. And so I need other people to know about it. And then last but not least is The Family Garden Plan by Melissa K. Norris. She also has a YouTube channel that I will link down below. But this book approaches deciding what to grow and growing more on a, what do I need to plan for my garden to support my family for a year of food? So she has a lot of spreadsheets. She has a lot of worksheets that you can fill out. She has called to the logic side of me. She has a lot of processes in which you can figure out, okay, if I eat this much corn per year, how much corn do I need to plant? Or if I eat this many canned green beans, how many plants would I have to grow and how much space would that take up? So it really gets you thinking about how much you have to grow to actually support your family if you didn't want to go to the supermarket, which I think is an interesting concept. It's not something that is feasible for me with my little backyard space, in the fact that I still want my backyard space to be usable entertainment space, but I still want to grow food in it. But it does make you start to think on, okay, if I want at least a decent harvest of some kind, this is how many plants I need to plant. This is when I need to plant them. And maybe I need to do them at separate times so that I'm not getting a harvest all at once. So this is more of a practical guide to planning your garden and maintaining your garden and deciding what you want to do in that kind of space. And I love that. And so I think this and this together are absolutely amazing. And then if you want to throw in, hey, I've got some patio space, I've got some deck space, I could probably grow a little bit more, throwing this one in there as well. So you understand the concept that, okay, this is gonna take slightly different maintenance than things that are out in my yard that have a ground system so that it doesn't totally dry up as quickly. These three books together, highly recommend all three reads so that you get the full spectrum of, I don't know, having a garden. I don't know if my garden is going to be any kind of success. I've got about 4 or so raised beds outside now. I have some flat land space. I've got some towering planter systems that I want to use as well. I'm gonna try. And I think that is the most I can require of myself. So if you are thinking about gardening like so many people because of the time we are living in right now, I highly recommend these 3 reads. And of course, if you guys have any recommendations for reads that are like this, tell me down below. I would love to dive even deeper into all of these concepts. I'm fascinated right now. I'm a sponge. I will take up all of the information. Just let me have it. And of course, if you want to see more content like this, subscribe down below, hit that bell, do all of those things to get all of those notifications. And I heart you beautiful faces. Bye.